training. I know you don't want to give away the McQuaid secret sauce, but what does your week look like? Like on a regular week, training wise, like when it comes to your monostructural, like how are you doing it?
Yeah, so I do conditioning every single day.
Okay.
Every day starts with at least like anything from like 30 to 90 minutes conditioning. So usually like Mondays in around 45, 50 minutes, Tuesdays about 90 minutes conditional, like zone 2 work. Wednesdays in around that 40, 50 minutes. Thursday is like my rest day, so I'll have swim club tonight, and then I've got my like bike session after the call.
Okay.
So that's like 6 minutes. Fridays usually like running intervals with like leg volume. So again, in around that 40 minutes. Saturdays the actually the only day I don't do conditioning, but I'll usually do just like a 20-minute heart rate opener, and then we've got like, it's always like Saturday's WOD day, and then Sunday is swim day again, and if I feel good, an optional like bike session. So like every day starts, that's how my day starts.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Monday usually is like big strength day and accessories. Tuesday is usually like push pull gymnastics with like probably like a single leg, like work. At the minute we're doing like single leg pistol progressions, and then like probably a big massive core session. Wednesdays, for the first time ever, my coach is giving me WODs on a Wednesday, which I'm loving. So I'm not going to tell him that because he'll take it away from me. So like Wednesday WODs with like usually like structural stuff. Thursday's the rest day, swim and bike, and then Friday's usually a big strength day with more like accessories, core work, and then Saturday's always like WODs. So we're doing like, I think we've got like 5 different WODs on this Saturday, but it'll just be like, some are like 6 minutes, some are 9 minutes, a couple of like sprint stuff, and then I think we're finishing with like 2K run, 2K row, 2K ski kind of thing. So like a bit of conditioning at the end. So it's not like a complete beat down, but it's just quite a nice blend of kind of everything throughout the week.
Okay. Gotcha.
Your strength day, does James rotate around like what your primary focus is on that day? Like will he like spend X amount of blocks of weeks working on pulling and then like a squat, or how is that structured out for you?
Yeah, so like the last phase we were kind of working on like some like doubles touch and goes. For me, like I love doing singles. Like if there's a workout with 100 singles, like the semifinals workout, the snatch workout, like I'm so good at just turning over singles. But if that was all touch and go reps, it would have been a different workout for me.
Yeah.
So we were just like, the focus there post Rogue up until this week was like all on touch and go stuff. Now this phase we're moving into like cluster sets again. So just again, that 2 weeks leading into competition, we'll just like refine that like that 20-second work. So we will also kind of replicates more what you'll do in a competition. So working more at those top end numbers, that sort of like 75 to 90% work on the 20 seconds for multiple reps. So kind of the focus at the minute for the ollie lifting, and then at the strength we're just working on the, I don't know what it's called, but the 10-5-3-1 strength work.
Okay.
So we are, because again, just leading into the competition, that usually works quite well for me, just getting the legs and even the upper. We're doing that for front squats, back squats, and push jerks, the 10-5-3-1. So it's quite nice.
Yeah. That 75 to 90%, is that in that workout you're ramping up to a 90%, or is that through a course of weeks? Okay.
Like for instance, like there, when was it? On Friday? No, it was like last Friday we had like the snatch waves. So I did like round 1 was all at like 60 kilos, round 2 was at 65 kilos, round 3 was at 75 kilos. So it was every 20 seconds for 3 minutes. So just that, we'll just do one like top set at the heavier weight kind of thing. So yeah, so you're just getting a feel for that heavier load, leading the competition, have that confidence. Like I'll just turn that over every like 10 to 15 seconds on the day.
Do you feel like that works really well, especially for Olympic lifting, to do things on the minute and ascending? Because the people I've worked with, whenever they've done anything similar to that, that seems to work really well. It just gets them into a fluid position again and again and again. does that feel like by the time you get to like 85, 90, it feels like grease on a ball bearing, or does it feel rough?
No, like it always feels better towards the end. I think
Okay.
for all CrossFitters, like even like in the open workout, we had to do the WOD into the clean high clean jerk or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just love lifting under fatigue. I always lift better.
Mm-hmm.
So I do. I hate an out and outright 1RM. I just prefer like a workout and then crack on into the 1RM.
Since you said 1RM, what are your best lifts?
My best snatch is 87.5, clean and jerks 110.
Okay. What's your squat and pull?
Ooh, my squats.
Oh.
This is gonna expose me.
Don't say it then. We're not here to expose you.
I don't mind. My back squat's shy.
Okay.
My back squat's only 125 kilos.
Okay.
So it's my weakest of all lifts. And my deadlift's 175.
Okay.
So
Is that?
I'm not good squatter, but I'm good at like that light to moderate weight.
I mean, if anything, I just think that's scary, because obviously you can make that number grow. So how much damage do you do if those numbers do climb up, even though it's not everything's correlated to just raw strength, obviously. But if anything, that's on some level, it's an advantage, because you still have room that you could probably, I'm assuming you have set goals, or you just kind of fluidly, you're making progress throughout the year, or do you have really tangible things that you sit down and say, like, I'm going to improve on these things in these areas?
Like I've said to my coach, like we've had we've made like really good progress in my squat, and then COVID struck me, and like my hips and my back were so bad that I physically couldn't squat.
Sure.
So like feels like the gains that we made, we've lost. So it's like you're kind of like rebuilding that squat again. So like for me, like I really want to, I can split jerk 125, but like my front squat's only like 118. So I was like, I want to clean and jerk 115. But semi-finals, that's just my own personal goal. I was like, I'd probably power clean it before I'll squat clean it, but I was like, I don't really care. I just want to clean and jerk it. So I've told my coach, like, I was like, my power stuff is so strong. Like I can power clean 110, I can squat clean 110. So I was like, we don't actually work on my explosive power. So I was like, I just believe if we get more explosive, like the squat's gonna become easier as well. So I was like, let's work on the explosive power, work on my strengths as well as my weaknesses, and the weaknesses will get better as well. So we're working on like loads of single leg work, loads of speed work as well. So like I think so yeah, we've said like we micro goals, but obviously the main goal is just to be fit and healthy and in a better shape than last year for the CrossFit Games. So obviously he keeps me well grounded on like what's your main goal. But yeah, I just think like for me, like we definitely have to start working a wee bit more on my strengths as well as the weaknesses.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think when you're talking about the squat as big, and I mean, Dustin, like we've talked about this before, where male to female, like lower body stuff is pretty much equal. I think even Sam said that. Sam Dancer even brought that up at some point. It's like everything's equal. But some people, like, I think I don't know. I got to reach out to your coach and pick his brain, because he knows, he understands strength and conditioning. That's one of the biggest things. Like I would tell, I mean, Dustin, you're big in single leg work. You've got a monster squat, and you love single leg work.
There's multiple months where I only do single leg, and I'll take squats out of the equation just to, especially if I've been doing a lot of strength work, and I just feel like I've been compressing things a lot just to continue that longevity, because I want to still be able to move big weights, when I'm 50 years old, hopefully. I'll just do only single leg stuff, just dumbbell stuff. And I'll put myself in the weakest position oftentimes too, where it's, rear foot elevated dumbbell or front rack, or just putting myself in the position where I cannot load it very much, but it's still incredibly taxing. Or then you're just changing the technique if you're doing an isometric hold or eccentrics or something like that. Because one, there's some progress to be made just using those techniques, but then two, I'm not continually hitting that load the body with more weight button, because I think you can only play that for so long once you get to a certain strength, like relative strength for your body, before you start really rolling the dice on getting an injury or acquiring an injury. And I feel like I've had to learn that through the hard route with things too. So I mean, that's why it's a benefit of clearly having a good coach, and then, you know, having someone like Sam kind of being able to watch and learn vicariously and get some of those tips and things, so you can avoid having to learn things the hard way sometimes, because you know, if you're not competing, it's one thing. I mean, you still don't want to do it, because longevity is a huge thing I think that we all want when we transition from whatever we're doing to you know, life after that. Obviously I think if it's in your heart to be a competitor and compete and be in shape, it's never going to leave. So that's the other thing, like, you want to maintain some level, you know, for your entire life, or as long as you can. So I mean, it's always in the back of, I think, anyone's head, to like, what does longevity look like? How do I continue to make progress? And how am I happy and still make, you know, training feel good too? Because that's another mental factor that's, you know, outside of competing, but still important.
Yeah.
That's one of the, like, I PB'd my like deadlift by doing no deadlifts. I did a lunge. I was doing a lunge, and then we went competition. Like, I've never maxed out my deadlift, only in competition, but there's a one arm deadlift, and I was like I'm gonna lift whatever I can lift overhand with no belt. And I literally pulled, like, my old one arm was 155. I opened with 155 and was like, put 165 on, went fuck, and then put 175 on, and did 3 lifts and stopped. But like, there was 180, 185 just sitting there. I just didn't take it on the day because I'd won, so I was like, nah. Sure. But like, I hadn't touched a deadlift, and someone actually said to me at the games, they were like, it was the deadlift freestand handstand push-up workout. Someone came up to me and they were like, is all you do is deadlift? And I was like, I don't deadlift. And they were like, and I was like, I said, I literally didn't even look at it. I was like, Joyce, do we deadlift? And Joyce was like, no, Emma doesn't deadlift. Like, they didn't believe me, but
I'm sure they didn't. Sure, they thought you're just messing with them.
But like, we don't do a lot of deadlifts. Like, we do a lot of lunges, so we do, and like, my deadlift shoots through the roof. Yeah. So like, but yeah, again, it's just a difference on, like, you know, you don't have to do one exercise to get good at that exercise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting that you say you ever pull, but when you go to pull, you PR, because that's something that at Westside is very, very big, because the deadlift in and of itself, you're doing it all the time, it's very taxing.
Yeah,
it's,
for sure.
Especially doing what you're doing, trying to do as much volume as you're doing to get better, incredibly taxing. And there was a lifter there. He stopped. His deadlift had ground to a stop, and he did not pull anymore. He didn't do speed pulls, max ever pulls. He just pulled sleds, did farmers walks, reverse hybrids, auxiliary stuff, and then I want to say I watched him pull 6 plates cold. It was just loaded on a complete dare. Someone dared him, and he's like, "Oh, fuck you." Walked over to it, picked it up, beltless, cold. It was the most unbelievable. Wow, that's like, 60 pounds away from your all-time best. So I 110% agree. And the person at the games that snuffed at you, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. It is one of those things. Like, I think like the accessories is very underestimated within the CrossFit world. It's the same. Like, we took out gymnastics for nearly about 8 weeks and just worked on like loads of single arm work, and I PV'd my ring muscle ups, my bar muscle ups, my chest bars. Like, I got like 5 unbroken peg boards, like, just by doing like single arm work, centrically loading the lats. And it was just like, turns out I need to destroy. It is quite exciting. I love like that side of training as well, and just seeing like kind of like how little CrossFit you can do and still get better CrossFit. more so in like the off season. Obviously, like there's a huge benefit doing CrossFit in season.
Right.
But season, I like to try and like go away from it to come back and see if you're better.